You're we're live now. So I'm happy to be back. We had a great AMA yesterday. Also some great growth, I think. Um, this journey, the stuff that's streaming is, how do we take proper 10 million of revenue? And I want to show you the journey, A to Z. At the same time, we're talking about trading stuff. I think, talking about growth, that's one of the things that we figured was high value, and that would get more people to care about what we built. It's also, I think we've proven in gaming what we were capable to do, and just like it was tough initially because of the legitimacy factor. Like you're a new entrant. Realistically, no one really cares about you. We have to do max effort at the moment to basically tell the world that hey, we're legit to do this stuff. And we'll discuss about like how we how I'm trying to build legitimacy for this, and it was to pump out a lot of content. So if you go okay, sorry, just got sidetracked. But when we go to our announcement, you can see, 20th of Feb was a week ago, roughly. Well, exactly. And we've pumped out like the docs, the pitch deck, some tools like tools that we've used in our live sessions, some blog articles. We're doing an AMA. We've done our first AMA yesterday. More tools. The trading rules being published. So it's really just a way in which we build the foundation. We've also done stuff like this blog article on, wait, sorry, there's someone knocking at my door. On like why I'm short hype, so people see, that I guess that I'm legit, and I think when someone gets into a new platform, or they invest, because we do a community round, or says they want to know, okay, who's behind, and just like we had someone yesterday on Discord asking me like, what's my background and what do I do, and I just, we've got some credentials because of how we've launched a few things in crypto and done a few things, but I'm basically assuming that I start from scratch. So we have to start from scratch and just take our, basically start from zero. And that's what I told the Expo community is we have to start from ground zero. And the success of this stuff is going to be predicated on, our ability to build a great community and to do great growth. On growth, I actually have good news. Sorry, actually, girlfriend was pinging me a ton. On growth, we've got great news. So, our goal is to build like a prop firm community, or people that care and that trade crypto. And if you look at our stats, so we were transparent about the stats. If you go to transparency, you see the Discord members have grown quite a bit since we, basically we gained close to 100 members in a week, which is good. For followers, we've gained like 200, which is good progress that we're making on the community front. And these are community members that do not overlap with what like our previous community. Well, not at least not fully. And our growth, I mean, we're still figuring out exactly the growth strategy on like exactly what content do we want to put to the public. So, we've got this 100K to a million challenge, which is a great hook. We've got the blog articles, the trading tool, sorry. So it's about, realistically on the announcement, I did put a lot of stuff, and it's a bit overwhelming. In a week, a lot of stuff was put out. So it's about, to us, and you can see it in the roadmap. We want to be transparent about this. Is community building. So newsletter, content creation. We've got this OG badge, the 100K to million. So that's we're writing in this, and that's what we I do besides just product building. And product building is like 90% of my time. Well, 80% these days, but the rest is focusing on creating content. Like this is why I'm short. We'll try and do some clickbait stuff because that's what works. So we had some ideas of talking about the power token, which is like a very crime coin, and I think we can make some noise in the space like this. Talking about the market more specifically, we're running this challenge, so the 100K to a million challenge. I would say it's more of a marketing stunt than anything else because realistically, it's more of a marketing stunt. Realistically, I mean, it's going to take a long time, and that's basically the trades I put on. We'll like as this gains more momentum, we'll see how we do it. Obviously, things are going fairly okay at the moment. We've got three. I mean, basically all of our trades were wins, or very small wins with the pump long. What we did is we've connected all of so how it works more concretely is I've got this hyperliquid address which is replicating the trades, and then I have an admin panel on this proper website where I'm just saying, hey, like change the notional, and at some point we will replicate one-to-one, so I put the exact amount of equity so we can replicate the slippage and fees a lot better, but slippage is going to be more relevant as we get to mid six figures on this challenge. So you have live webhooks. So, for example, the trade long, I'm not sure if I shared that yesterday, but that was a low time frame trade. Not something I'd like to do because honestly don't have time to care. And patience is the one thing in trading anyway. So like if you look at markets too much, you will, unless you're a day trader, but then you'll just change your bias too much, and you're basically just flip-flopping. But the thesis yesterday is you had Zach XBT, a guy on X, that said there's an investigation coming about one of the most profitable businesses in crypto, and basically my trade was to say first I wanted to hedge the shorts, because the short exposure I still have. I wanted to hedge against that coming into the US Open, but also more importantly, we can actually check the exact trade they took there. Um, but it was basically at this time I was like I wanna hedge against that, and also gut feeling was that pump was not, because there is not much insider trading to be done on pump in my opinion. So my gut feeling was that pump was not one of them, and I did in the end just cut the trade for like 100 bips, like a percent. I just was not feeling it, and that's the sort of intuition you get as you spend more time on the market. But then the trade idea was correct, whereby when Zach XBT mentioned the stuff, it went up 5%. That's exactly what like the asymmetry I wanted to capture on the market. Got lucky to cut the trade, because at the end of the day, that was a good idea. And then the other trade I could have taken, but honestly I was not looking, I was just working, is to take the underside, other side, sorry. So take the short, because it's typically like fundamentally it's not something that, like, not being called a scam is not something that should improve the price, and especially in the current condition, like shorting any positive news is positive. That's what we saw on ZRO. That's what we saw on what was the other thing? I think it was mainly ZRO, or like some a bit listings that got completely hammered. Forgot the name. Anyway, so current exposure we have is we are 100% short. One of the thing I don't like is holding positions through weekends, because it's usually noise and things tend to reverse. But I specifically don't like to hold long positions. I don't like to hold long positions on Friday. Like basically from Friday morning, EU time, to Monday US Open. That's the very dangerous zone, because if you look at, we can actually look back in time. If you look at the big, 6th of Feb. Yeah, 6th of Feb was I guess February. Was a Friday, but I would say that was a bit of an exception there. But if we look at the big capitulation event we had, so 1010 was on a Friday, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, Friday. If you look at what we had in August, so the yen carry trade, the 4th of August, 2024, was also Sunday. And overall, like, that's where it's easier to manipulate the prices, and like holding positions through the weekend is like minus EV so much. But it's usually good for, like, the only positions I'm happy to hold is through shorts, especially as we are in a downtrend. So the current assumption is going to be the same. So current position is we're holding shorts, and we have the same assumption that we had. I don't want to take too, like, I'm not a person that would take too many trades, as I would hold trades for quite a long time. If you look at the average hold time is, well, that's only 16 hours, but I usually hold things for at least 2-3 days. And current assumption is that we're range bound, so like it's usually what happens when you have when you have a big capitulation event, you tend to be in a range. So like at least test the liquidity on both sides before breaking down. So what you had there after 1010 is you had this range forming, just the market's not really knowing what to do. And usually what you can do is take the first mean reversion, and then that's your top of range, and then your bottom of candle is bottom of range. And if you look closely at the setup that we have here, it's pretty much the same. Like you have, I guess just you have the first, capitulation candle, you have this move up, and then you test the bottom of candle, and then, that's pretty much the same that we have. So if we look at the same pattern there, we would have target the top of range and then eventually target the bottom of range. That's the assumption that I'm playing with. Now, where is on the high time frame, where is it going to resolve? Got no clue. But those ranges are great because invalidations are so clear. So you can tell your stops are very clear. And that's when you can have the best risk return on the market. So my assumption at the moment is that we stay range bound, and so I want to, I've said on Discord, but I want to have about, I close the exposure if we have about 3 closes above 70K in the 4 hours. So that means we can go pretty wide there, like 72, 73. But as long as we stay above, like I think this is just noise. You had notable moves on the macro, well, on the TradFi side. So I think VIX went up like 10% yesterday. Well, actually reversed quite a bit, but you've got SPX, I think, down about 1% during the session. Mean reverted quite a bit, but I think TradFi is just not looking, I mean, we've been in this range for a long time now. And you can tell from the BTC price action, like, risk assets tend to set up faster. And you can tell that, the apathy that you have in Bitcoin, is likely to be expected through the equity market. So, I'm more comfortable with short positions at the moment, especially going into weekends and Monday. On the Iran stuff, I haven't followed so much. I'm not sure exactly how this is going to impact the, like, what's the likelihood of this happening. But for me, as I said, to take a big long position, like if we go there, I'd likely take a good setup. 60, 50, 58, I think that's a good long in order to target the range highs or target the expansion if you want. So that's the current framework, and I'm using BTC as a way to express direction. I don't think you have much decoupling between BTC and the rest at the moment. Although one chart that's worth mentioning is others dominance. That's if you look, it's basically up only. So since it's like top of range since 1010, so that's good to note. That means the small caps or mid caps are outperforming BTC, but that in itself is not really actionable for me. So if we hold top of range for too long, I'm gonna be cutting exposure, because in a mean, like in a bear market rally, you would tend to have like to squeeze higher towards, I think, the 80k, 83, 84 in a large short squeeze, and I think it's risky to then, what you can do is cut the exposure, and then if we were to deviate and just re-enter, then you would re-enter short again, with your invalidation being the weak high. So that's the way I'm thinking about it at the moment. In terms of CVD, I think it was disappointing in yesterday's session, because you had we had a rally that was led by spots, and you see here, basically spot started selling, or at least not be aggressive at all. So that's why it made for a good case to be short, or at least not be long. Like I think being long here is is a bit too risky. And I think this is gonna be actually, I mean, just quickly, the short list, I mean, the tokens, I think, are good shorts at the moment. If we were to, expand from the range highs, I think good shorts on range reintegration would be, I think Aave is a good short, because of fundamental reasons. We had a governance talk on Aave, and it's about Aave Labs. If you haven't followed, I'm not gonna describe it, but basically fundamental reason that make people pretty bearish on the fundamentals of the assets, and there is ongoing talks of forks, etc. So it's an asset that's, I think, easy to set off. And so, a good setup is typically, if you were to go there, then you can take the short with pretty good invalidation. But I would never trade BTC ads without looking at BTC, especially at this time. If you, I would always look at BTC first, and then select a view to express this. For example, the hype short, honestly, I'm holding it, but I have more midterms thought about the assets. I do think that hype versus others is finding a top, just like we basically, we have this, wait. Wait, let me check something. Well, perhaps just high BTC is the best way to express this. So it's well, overall it's up only, but when it tends to rally, which it did, realistically, I mean, even in I want to look at the April price action. So it had a very strong relative performance vs BTC in April, and then it sold off pretty aggressively, and And it's the same. It's like you have an impulse there, and then you have a slow bleed, and then you have an impulse, and then a slow bleed. I think this is what we will see, because, and a good reason for this to be a good short to me, at least paired with BTC. And I'm definitely wrong on the asset so far. You're like minus 3.7%, but it's more of a medium-term thought. So the question is, how do you manage this? If it's just, you definitely want to, I think, hedge against some longs on the medium term. So the basket I like is AVE is good, I think. Hype is good as a short, and then I don't have like single names that I think I want to short. I don't want to short a memes or anything like this. Although you can argue memes were a much better short. Like we've entered short there, so like Pepe would have been a much better short. But the thing is, these names got beaten down so much that squeeze just make them EV minus there. You have to stay aware that shorting there is pretty retarded, I have to say, because crypto market went down so much. So medium term it favors long so much, but although I have this opinion, I have to stay. I have to look at the actual facts, and if I have emotions, but then it's a range, I just have to play the range. So I'd say won't go into product details. I have to go back to work, and we're basically going through the UI of the trading terminal, making sure it's good. And just quickly, if you guys want to check how this is going to look, we've just broken the UI, so I can't share it to you, but it's basically looking like a very hyperliquid-like terminal where we don't want to reinvent the wheel. It's pretty simple stuff. And then we're bringing Nicola from our team to help us creating great UI visuals. So for example, the banner that you have here, which is the drawdown limits for your accounts, quick access tool to your different accounts there. Analytics, I think we can improve it a lot. Leaderboard, and then stuff like settings with your payouts, certificates, the referral program, things like security, and then API keys. It's basically what we're looking at the moment. And on this note, I will end the stream, and we'll catch you tomorrow. Tomorrow is most likely going to be product heavy. Nothing to debate much on markets on Saturday, Sunday, unless you have big events.